Good evening, class. Today I will be showing you how to use Sony Vegas, a video editing tool. Now, before we begin, Sony Vegas is another video software that used to edit videos. Other softwares includes that you may be familiar with includes as Adobe Premiere, which is one of the well-known softwares. We also have Final Cut Pro for Mac Pro users. And if you have iOS devices, you may have experienced iMovie. And for those who are using Windows 8 and below, usually are familiar with Windows Movie Maker. However, in this session, I will be demonstrating how to use Sony Vegas. So Sony Vegas is similar to other video software with different key features. Now, before we begin, I would like to introduce some key terms. One term that you need to understand is layers. So like any video editing software, layers plays the important role of editing a video, and that includes video track and audio track. The second term is render. In Sony Vegas, they use the term render instead of exporting. Now, if we're using Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro, you will see the term export. However, in Sony Vegas, instead of using the term export, they use the term render. Now let's start off with our first layer, which is the audio track. You can import audio files into the video editing software, but however, a limited of audio formats are supported. So support audio files, which includes WAV files. WAV files is typically the original raw file of an audio. Another format that is also supported is MP3 file, which is a compressed audio file. There's also another compressed file that can be used. It's called WMA, which stands for Windows Media Audio. Our next layer is the video track. Same like audio track, only certain of video files may be supported. So one of the common files is the AVI, which is the original files that can be extracted from a video camera. Another one would be an MP4 file. We also have the MPG files and WMV files. These are type of files that can be supported in video editing when you add the layers into the Sony Vegas tool. Now, in the video track, beyond video tracks also support still images. So if you have like a still image such as a JPEG file or a PNG transparent file or even a Photoshop file, which is PSD, so these files are also supported. Just keep in mind that PNG files and PSD files are most common use in video editing because that we can use transparency images, which are ideal for video graphics. And I'll show you an example when we do our demonstration. Now, when we export or render a video, we have to make sure that we choose the quality. And when you render or export out a video, you have up to a lot of options, but the most common one are listed here. First, you can export the video as a 480p, which is a DVD quality, which is standard if you want to put the file on a DVD. The second option is a 720p, which is HD quality, which cannot be put on a DVD, but will be put on a Blu-ray disc. There's also a 1080p, which is super HD quality. Then you have the option of 4K, which is an Ultra HD quality. Keep in mind that the higher the resolution of the video, the larger of the video file. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, if you're uploading a video onto YouTube, you can actually upload 4K videos because YouTube does support that. However, if you plan to put on a DVD disc, it's not ideal to render a 720p HD quality video. You would want to go with 480p. If you have a Blu-ray disc, then you have the options of choosing 720p or 1080p, depending how large do you want the file to be. So this is based on your choice, but remember the options. Now let's start off with the Sony Vegas demo. So here I will go onto the desktop and show you how to use Sony Vegas. Alright, so here I'm on my desktop. So first I will launch Sony Vegas Pro. Alright, I should have something that looks like this. So now I want to create a new video project. So I go to File, hit on New, and choose a template. So here you see there's a lot of template files, but I know my purpose. I want to use an HD video because I want to upload it onto YouTube using 1080p format. So here in HD I have three options. So I'm gonna take HD 1080p at 60i, which is my ideal format. Click here and then make sure everything is good. Full resolution, maybe not just I want good, I want the best quality. But keep in mind, the better the quality, the larger the file is going to be. I hit OK. So there we have it. So now I'm going to start adding layers. So in order to add layers, so if this is the media that I'll be using, so under this folder, and this you will find it on Microsoft Teams as well, you will see that says video editing demo. You click on this and you will see 4 files. The first file is a JPEG image, which is a still image. The second is a Photoshop image, which is a graphics line, which is also transparency. And you can refer back to previous lessons on how to use Photoshop. And I'm just going to launch here how it looks like. So this is the design that we have in Photoshop. So it's a transparency image with a graphics with the that says John Doe. Of course, you can design your own graphics any way you like it by just using Photoshop. And then we have also an audio file, which is in a WAV format. We also have a video clip. So now let's go back to Sony Vegas. So because I'm using 3 images, I'm going to add 3 video layers. So under Insert, I'll go click. I'm going to add a second video track layer and then a third. So there you have it. See, these are the 3 video layers. I'm also going to add 2 audio layers because one is for the audio for the video and one is for the WAV file that I'm going to input. So this video should have a total of 5 layers. Now we are going to import the files. So under File, I'll click Import Media, and then it should direct you to whatever folder, but here it's already popped up. So I'm going to choose these 4 files. Hit Open. So here you have it. These are the 4 files here. And so now the trick is when editing this video, you want to make sure that you put the image in the right layer, because just keep in mind that the top layer will override the layer that is on the bottom. So let's add with the project 1 video clip I have here. I'm going to add it onto the 3rd layer. And since this video clip also have audio, it also automatically add into the audio file. Alright, so let's play this video clip to see how it sounds and look like.
6, 3, 2. An American inventor and entrepreneur, Henry Ford, once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. We are the only ones who decide what we can and cannot do. Limitations do not exist unless we are the ones placing those limits upon ourselves."
Okay, so I like this video clip, but I do not like some clips of it. So I want to start my video from here.
An American inventor and entrepreneur, Henry.
So I can trim this out.
An American.
So I'm going to select the first few seconds of this video clip and I'm going to delete them out. So now it will start just as.
An American inventor and entrepreneur, Henry Ford, once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. We are the only ones who decide what we can and cannot do. Limitations do not exist unless we are the ones placing those limits upon ourselves."
So there you have it. You can add a couple of transitions if you want to. And depending on what video editing tools you have, each software has its own unique transitions. Here I'm just going to do a simple fade in, fade out.
An American inventor and entrepreneur, Henry Ford, once said.
Okay, now I do want to add a still image on top, so I'll add the layer on top of this video clip. So you here have image 1. I'm going to drag this and put it right about here. Now look what I mean, it overwrites. So I'm going to play it for you as a demo.
Once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. We are the only ones who decide what we can and cannot do. Limitations."
See what I mean? So in order to fill this background, you may want to crop this photo. So maybe let me adjust a bit, and I want to crop it. So because this is a portrait mode, I want to make sure it's a 16:9 widescreen, because that's our standard right here. So now this is how it's going to look like once I crop it.
You think you can or you can't, you're right. We are the only ones who decide what we can and cannot do. Limitations.
So now I want to add a bit transition, maybe also make some pan movement. So I'm going to go back to my cropping tool. So maybe I want to start off from here, and I'm going to add another frame. Maybe I'm going to put it at the end of the video right here. So let me add an event, and then maybe at the last event I may want to zoom in something that looks like this. Let's see how this plays now.
You think you can or you can't, you're right. We are the only ones who decide what we can and cannot do. Limitations.
And same thing, I might want to add my own transition as well. So depending on what video editing tools you use, you can add a couple of transitions. So in this case, I'll click on the transition tab. Maybe I want to add a clock wipe right here, and then maybe an iris wipe, perhaps like this. See now how it looks like.
Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. We are the only ones who decide what we can and cannot do. Limitations do not exist unless we are the ones placing those limits upon ourselves.
Okay, so there we have that one portion. Now I want to add the graphics. So going back to the media, I want to add the Photoshop image. So I'm going to drag this onto the very top layer. Maybe I want to crop it from here. I want to start off from here. And I want to add a couple of transitions as well. Maybe a linear wipe would do the trick. And exit out with another linear wipe. So this is how it's going to look like now.
An American inventor and entrepreneur, Henry Ford, once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. We are the only ones who decide what we can and cannot do. Limitations do not exist unless we are the ones placing those limits upon ourselves."
So we have a couple foundations here. Now I want to add a background music. So we do have a WAV file here. I'm going back to my media. I'm going to drag this to the bottom of the track. So let's see how it sounds now.
An American inventor and entrepreneur, Henry Ford, once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. We are the only ones who decide what we can and cannot do. Limitations do not exist unless we are the ones placing those limits upon ourselves."
So we can see that the audio is too loud. I may want to reduce the volume of this audio track. As well as I want to crop it because I don't want to start at the beginning of the music. I want to start somewhere around here maybe. So I'm going to crop this out. And I'm going to drop down the volume of the audio file. Let's see how it sounds now.
An American American inventor and entrepreneur Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. We are the only ones who decide what we can and cannot do. Limitations do not exist unless we are the ones placing those limits upon ourselves."
Okay, so I don't need the rest of this audio. I'm just gonna delete everything out here. And I may want to reduce the audio a little bit more and pan out. Let's see how it turns out now.
An American inventor and entrepreneur Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. We are the only ones who decide what we can and cannot do. Limitations do not exist unless we are the ones placing those limits upon ourselves."
Okay, so that's my final video clip. Now, the last portion is I want to merge all these layers into one video. So I will do a render. So first I will select all the video, the length of the video that I would like to be rendered. I'm going to File and hit Render As. Now if you're using Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere, it should say Export. But here in Sony Vegas it says Render. Click on that, and since my template is already on HD, you should see that it goes directly to MP4. So I did select main concept as an MP4 format, and it's Internet HD at 720p. Well, maybe I want 1080p because I want a higher quality, but it depends. Remember, the larger the resolution, the larger the file is going to be. So just keep in mind on that, how you choose how to render your video. So I'm going to go Internet HD at 1080p, and I can name my project, say this is the final project, and I'm going to hit render. And depending on the speed of your computer, it could take anywhere from a couple minutes to an hour to render just one video. But since I have basically a fast computer, it will render fast. But if you have a slow computer, it will take hours just to render a video clip. So should be done any bit. Now it's complete. So now you have the video. So if go back to our main file where I saved it at, here's the final project. Let's just play it, see how it looks like.
An American inventor and entrepreneur Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. We are the only ones who decide what we can and cannot do. Limitations do not exist unless we are the ones placing those limits upon ourselves."
So here you just learn how to use Sony Vegas Pro. So I hope you understand and continue to practice. On Microsoft Teams, you will find these files and practice making your own video. Try to explore, try to use different transitions, different effects to make your videos look great. So the next time we meet in our next session, you'll be using a video editing tool of your choice, which is Sony Vegas, one of them, or you may use Adobe Premiere to work on your project, because you are required to create a 30-second PSA by using these video editing tools. So we will see you next time in our next session, and I hope you have a great day.